Good Monday morning, everyone. Here we are in Biology 120, and it is the start of week number 3. Week number 3 has everything to do with classification of life and cells. And so, it's one of my favorite weeks. I say that a lot, though. You have to get used to that. Okay, so last week, what did we learn about? We learned about some chemistry of life. And this is important because chemistry is what runs all of biology. So we have to understand it. You have to understand the importance of water. All of life requires water, period. That is true. And why is water so necessary? It's got many different wonderful properties. Lots of things can dissolve in it, but its very most important property is that it absorbs heat from all the biochemistry that's happening inside cells. And that's so they don't burn up. So that's a very important job. Carbon is the most important element, and this particular atom can form 4 bonds with other atoms or molecules. And so very complex structures can be made using carbon as the backbone of organic molecules. And then we had the 4 groups of organic molecules: carbohydrates, which includes sugars, starches, etc. They are used for energy storage, structures in organisms. They're terribly important, so don't leave them out of your diet. Lipids, which are hydrophobic molecules, and they're very important: fats, oils, and waxes, for energy storage, for repelling water. Even something as simple as earwax is actually important to your health because it helps to coat the inside of that very delicate skin in your ear canal so that you don't get cracks in it and then get infections. So that's lipids. And then we have proteins. Most proteins are enzymes which run your biochemistry. And then we also have the nucleic acids, DNA and RNA, and some of the energy molecules like ATP. Now, last week in your discussion, in your response post, you were supposed to look on food labels to see if nucleic acids were there. And lo and behold, they aren't. Carbohydrates, fats, and proteins are, but that last category of nucleic acids is not on the label. And why is that? Well, if you look at the structure of a nucleic acid, it's a sugar and then a nitrogenous base, and that just means a molecule that's made with some nitrogen. Well, the sugar is a carbohydrate, and that nitrogenous base looks an awful lot like an amino acid, which is part of a protein. And that's why you don't have that extra category on your nutrition label, because it's basically made up of sugars and proteins. So you don't need it. Okay, the topic this week is classification, and you'll learn a lot about cells. So what is classification? Classification is putting things into groups so that you can understand them better and predict how they behave and understand different traits about whatever it is that you're classifying. So when we classify life, we classify into 3 domains, and then you can break those domains into kingdoms and phyla, etc. But we're just going to worry about the domains for right now. You have the domain Eubacteria, which contains bacteria that you and I would normally come across every day on our bodies, out in the environment, etc. Then we have the domain Archaea, and Archaea contains Archaebacteria, which live in very extreme environments. So far we've got 2 out of the 3 domains that are bacteria, and we only have 1 left. That is the domain Eukarya. And Eukarya contains the eukaryotes. And what are they? Animals. That's us. We're humans and we're considered animals. Plants, you know what those are. Fungi, mushrooms, mildew, mold, etc. You know what those are. And then protist is a leftover category of eukaryotes that contains a wide variety of organisms, everything from a single-celled amoeba to gigantic algae in the ocean, to a paramecium. There's so many different protists. So that is classification in the domains. What's really important to know here, and will help you in, I think, yes, it's your discussion this week, is understanding the difference between prokaryotes, which are all the bacteria, versus eukaryotes. And here are some differences. The prokaryotes are all very small, and they're so small that they cannot contain any organelles. So there's no nucleus in a bacterium. No nucleus, no organelles, no mitochondria. A mitochondrion is as big as a bacterium. So how can a bacterium have mitochondria? So there are no organelles. They are more simple cells, though they can do all kinds of wild and crazy things, and they're amazing, but they still are simple cells where all the molecules in the cell come in contact with each other. On the other hand, you have the eukaryotic cell, which is very big and very complex, and there are all these little compartments or organelles in the cells, and the organelles are nuclei, mitochondria, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus, there's so many more, chloroplast, etc. So there are big differences between these two types of cells. Well, if you're infected with bacteria and you want to kill those bacteria so that they don't kill you, you're going to take a drug called an antibiotic. Antibiotics target bacterial cells. The whole point of taking this medicine is to kill the bacteria and not kill you. So how do you do that with these medicines? Antibiotics target parts of bacterial cells that we don't have or that are different in us. Doesn't that make sense? You got to figure out some way to kill those bacterial cells without harming or killing us. So that's very important, and that all has to do with cell structures. So you're going to look up some information about that. Okay, you've got some parts of the textbook to read this week. Please do read your textbook. I noticed when I was doing the grading for this week, for week 1, that some people are not reading the textbook. You know, you've got to at least skim through it to figure out what is going on and to understand the questions that are being asked every week. Then you can go back and read very specific parts if you need to do that. So you need chapters 20, the first section, 20-1, and chapter 4 in your OpenStax free, don't forget that free textbook, Biology, the 2nd edition. Read the Module 3 overview and watch the videos. The videos are very good. One of the videos talks about the human microbiome, and what the heck is that? The micro, that means little, biome, that means everything that lives in and on us. The little life that lives in and on us. That's what the human microbiome is. And we are just now figuring out how important the microbiome is. There are bacteria and other organisms that live all over our bodies and in some places inside our bodies. Well, oh, that sounds horrible. We need to decontaminate ourselves. No, 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 no. These are good. They are good bacteria. They are good protists. We even have some little animals on us, but and hopefully not too many. But they are good for the most part. There will be some that can take advantage of us, especially if we're in a weakened state, and can produce diseases like Staphylococcus that causes staph infections. But for the most part, our microbiome makes us healthy, helps to keep us healthy, and helps to fight off foreign invaders and pathogens, things that will make us sick. I've also included an additional video in this announcement of an amazing, I mean amazing, antibiotic resistance bacterial study produced by Harvard, and I do want you to watch it. It is just a couple of minutes long, but it will show you how fast antibiotic resistance can happen in an experimental condition, and it also should make you realize that this could definitely happen even inside your body. So you could have bacteria in you right now that are not antibiotic resistant, and when you misuse your antibiotics that you're taking for some infection, you could actually create a population of antibiotic resistant bacteria in you. The next time you have to take that antibiotic, it won't work. So it's a very important topic. Okay, your discussion board postings this week. Remember, you have an initial post due by Thursday midnight and 2 response posts that are substantive, that have to have some information in them by Sunday night. So you're going to be discussing why antibiotics target bacterial cells and not ours. And I gave you clues about this, that there have to be differences in our cells for these antibiotics to target, so that they kill the bacteria and not us. And in your response post, you're supposed to be talking about how our use of antibiotics increases antibiotic resistance, including superbugs. Well, that may be in your initial post too. But anyway, in the response post, you're going to be talking about the use of antibiotics in livestock. Now, this is really important. It's a really important topic. When you go to the grocery store now, which I've got to do the beginning of this week, when you go to the grocery store, and especially looking at meats, you will see that some packs of chickens say raised antibiotic free. These animals have never been given antibiotics. Okay, that is awesome, and I love that, and I buy that kind of chicken. But oh my goodness, spending $11 for a package of a couple of chicken breasts, that just makes you want to choke, doesn't it? I mean, it's a lot of money, and it costs a lot more money to buy this type of meat. But it's beneficial in the long run, so I encourage you to do that. So you're going to look at antibiotic use in livestock, and why it's used and why it maybe shouldn't be used. And this means chickens and turkeys and pigs and cows, etc. You get the idea. Then you're also going to begin your final project. Hopefully this past week you looked over the topics and have decided on one. And if you have not decided on one and you want to do something that's not on the list, you have to email me to get permission to do something different, because I will help you decide whether this is a good topic. Because I've had students do this and choose a topic, and it was so limited that they really didn't have enough information that they could gather to put together a final project. Or it was just so far off in left field, it didn't have a heck of a lot to do with biology, which is not the point of this final project. I'm going to include a link to Milestone 1 guidelines and rubric, but I also want to point out some things. So I've put the first page right here. Here's your list of topics that you can choose from: population ecology, air pollution, water pollution, energy crisis, alternative forms of energy like solar energy. If you're interested in that, give it a go. Eutrophication is the changing of bodies of water, especially landlocked bodies of water, because they age out, believe it or not. The human population, genetic modification, which is a hot topic now, GMOs, that's everywhere. This doesn't contain GMOs. Okay. Almost all the corn that you eat is a GMO. Okay, just saying. Deforestation, biodiversity and endangered species, global warming and climate change, waste management, or a topic of your choice. So, there are a lot of topics there. Surely you can find one, but if you can't, just email me and I will be glad to talk with you about it. All right, my tip of the week for this week is to put your assignments into the correct format. So what you're going to turn in for milestone 1 of your final project this week, week 3, needs to be in a particular format. Look at the guidelines and rubric for each of these milestones, because it will tell you how to set these up. So I copied and pasted from milestone 1 here. It should be submitted in a Word document, double space, 12 point, Times New Roman. I don't really care about that, but anyway. Decent margins, don't make 3-inch margins on the side so I have a column to read. That's crazy. Submit 1 or 2 pages. You will use in-text citations. And have 3 references even for milestone 1, because you need to be doing your background research right now on your topic. Let's go back for a second. So down at the bottom of this, it tells you what you need to include. You need to include an introduction to this topic. Describe your topic. And this can be put in outline form, which I was just going to point out in the format. But why is it significant? Why is it interesting? Why is it a big topic in the field of biology? Where does this occur? So this is under the topic section. Now you will notice this is already in outline form, and so you need to keep it in outline form. You are not writing this like an essay. It should say Roman numeral 1, introduction, and then start describing your topic and put bullets. That's an outline, right? So in the topic section, where does this happen? If you're talking about global warming, well, isn't the definition of that global? And so the whole biosphere is affected. If you're looking at water pollution in Lake Erie, then no, the whole globe is not affected by this. What ecosystems are affected by this particular topic? Where does this happen? How does it happen? How does the process happen? So global warming, everybody, all of you who are in environmental science understand this, but how does global warming happen? Carbon dioxide is released into the air from the burning of fossil fuels, and that helps trap heat. So, how does the process work, and which species benefit from this particular topic? And I will guarantee you, if it's something bad that is happening to the environment, there is some group of humans that benefit from this particular phenomenon. So is it a particular industry that benefits? Is it a particular corporation? Is it a government? Is it a country? On the other hand, is it particular species that benefit from this? And sometimes there are. So if you talk about the Great Lakes and how much pollution was released into them in the 60s and 70s, the lamprey population just absolutely exploded in the Great Lakes. They benefited from the pollution. So put this in outline form. It says up there, double space. I can't even find it. Anyway, it must be the sentence before this. You put this in outline form. But you'll also include references in this section. Every time you turn in one of these milestones, you're going to be including references. And in the final project, you'll have a list of these too. Also include in-text citations. So if you get the information from a source, make sure that you cite the source even in your body of work. Don't just list your 3 references. Okay, so make sure you put your assignments in the correct format, especially these milestones and the final project. This will be very important for you. And if you need anything this week, just give me a holler. Here's my email, m.sigmon@SNHU, and I will answer you as soon as I can. Some days I'm busier than others, but I will get back to you just as soon as I can, and it's always within 24 hours. So let me know if you're having any trouble, if you have any questions, if you want to do a different topic, just let me know. I'm here for you, and I want to help you. So I hope you have a wonderful week this week. Hope the weather's good where you are, and you can get out in the sunshine a little bit, because we all definitely need that. All right, I hope you have a great week. Let me know if you need anything.